Um, I'm on. I'm on. Rivero hears me.
I hear you.
I have to. Okay.
Rivero, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if my internet's bad, but someone's internet's not good.
Well, you don't hear me?
I hear you perfectly. I do hear
Okay, I hear
you.
you. Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting funny messages on my screen. Okay, let's see if we can make this work better. Oh, does I? Second. Oh, does I? Okay. So we are up to the Naya Mishnah on Daf Lamed Zayin Amud Aleph. Hashoichet es hamisukenes. You have an animal that's very sick and it's about to die, and you want to chaper on quickly and shecht it so that you can eat it and it won't become a nevela, which is a total loss. So the question is, you quickly shecht it, but you're not sure, did the animal pager before the end of the shechita, and then in fact it's a nevela, or maybe the animal survived till the end of the shechita, and it's a kosher animal. Zogt Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, ad shetefarches biyad uberegel. You have to see movement in the hand and in the foot, so in the foreleg and the rear legs of the animal after it dies. That would be a siman that it was alive, and therefore it's kosher. Rabbi Lazar, you don't need so much. Both legs should move. Daya imzinka. If the throat was shooting out blood, not just dripping out, but shooting out, that would also be a siman that the animal was alive at a shchita, and therefore it's kosher. Amar Rab Shimon, hashoichet balayla. What if you shechted at night and you couldn't see the simanim? When I say simanim, I mean the simanim that it was alive. So according to Rab Shimon ben Gamliel, you have to assume that the animal was an avela because you couldn't see if it was mefarches biyad
Right.
uberego. However, the next morning you woke up and it was light. And you found the walls full of blood. And Rashi says we don't mean the walls of the house, the walls of the room. We mean the walls of the shechita, meaning the cut surfaces of the neck are full of blood. Ksheira, that would be ksheira because that would be a simin shazinka. And according to Chamidus Rebbe Lazar, that if it's zinka, we can assume it's kosher, it would work. According to the Tanakama, it would still be kosher to be a neveh. Gewaltig. So Reb Shimon ben Gamliel holds you need chitaparches biyad uveregel. You need side the foot and side the arm to be mafarches. But according to the Chachamim, it's enough if only either the yad or the regel, or if it wags its tail. This applies equally echad b'behema daka, echad b'behema gasa. Now, by a behema daka only, shepash the yada v'lo yichsir psula. Now, an animal, its nerves automatically make it stick out its front legs when you shech. So if that was the pirchas that you saw, it just stuck out its front legs, that would not be a siman that it's alive. That's not considered a pirchus. That is the norm. When the animal dies, its front legs get pushed out, and therefore that wouldn't be pirchas, that wouldn't be a siman that the animal is kosher. This that you need to see simonim, pirchos, zinka, That's only an animal that was very sick, and we're going to soon see how we define an animal that's very sick. But a regular animal, if it's a regular healthy animal, even if there's no zinok, there's no pirchos, it's kosher because it's becheskas, a healthy animal. Zogt ahele v'gemar. Misukenes mimai deshari. Where do we know from that a misukenes, an animal, is kosher? So in the typical Jewish style, the Gemara answers a question with a question. Umimai teisek adaitin the isira. Why would you think it's usher? Why would you say the default is usher when you need a ride that's mutter? It should be usher. It's not an avail. It's not a treifa. Zok the Gemara. Maybe it's usher because a loisa said haba michlal asay. And what would that be? It says in the pasuk, this chaya you should eat. So we learn chaya echad. Only eat an animal that's mamish alive. But if it's not alive by the end of the shechita, lo yitzaychal, you're not allowed to eat it. V'ha mesukenes, a mesukenes that's half dead, ein chaya. It's not considered fully alive. So therefore, we know that a mesukenes would be osir. So since we have a reason to believe that a mesukenes should be osir, we need to find the pasuk to teach us, in fact, that a mesukenes is muter. Zok the Gemara, the pasuk says lo soichal nevela. That means an animal that's already mamish dead is where there's an iser to eat. Michlal the mesukenes shari. It must be that if the animal is about to die, but it didn't die yet, it must be mutter. Davka, when it's already dead already, you shouldn't eat it. Michlal the misuken shari. It's a raya that if it was only misukin, it's only half dead but it's still alive, that would be mutter. If you want to tell me that the Torah holds that misukenes is also osir, vostaf the Torah shtei nevela. Hashta mechayim asira. If it's already osir to eat, because it says zois achaya, if it's already osir to eat when it's about to die, la'achar misa miboy, for sure the isser is not going to go off after the animal pagers. Frak the Gemara, v'dilma hainu nevela hainu misukenes. Maybe the Torah says that whether an animal is about to die or if it actually dies, they're both in the veil. They're both considered in the veil. And maybe misukenes should be osir because we treat it just like a nevela. Zok the Gemara loy sol kadai. That's not mistaber. The Chsivit says, "V'chiyamus when the behema actually pagers, then asher lachem lachod, an animal that you would normally eat, only then hanageh b'nevloso. La'achar misa hu dekaya rachmana nevela. When does the Torah consider it asher mitoris nevela? Dafka la'achar misa. However, mechayim lo yikri nevela. So therefore, the pasuk is telling us that there is no iser nevela mechayim, and therefore it's going to be muter. V'dilma la'olam emalach. Maybe hanu nevela hanu musukenes. Maybe it's still like a nevela. Norvos. The reason why the Torah has to be mefaret. The reason why the Gemara has to be mefaret. The reason why the Torah has to be mefaret nevela is for a different reason. As follows: Hanu nevela hanu musukenes, but mechayim ba'asei. When it's only a musukenes about to drop dead, then there's the asei of zois achaya. But la'achar misa it becomes more chomer, and there's a lav as well, b'lav. So therefore, we no longer have a raya from the fact that the Torah asher nevela. You don't have a raya that a musukenes is muter. Maybe a musukenes is aser. It's aser ba'asei. So we need to find another makor that the mesukenes is muter. Zok the Gemara, let's try from treifa. Elami treifa. Let's say that we know from treifa that a mesukenes is muter. How do you see from treifa that a mesukenes is muter? Zok the Gemara, B'da Amar Achmana, the Torah says, treifa loisaychel. And once again, that's not the lashon aposuk. The lashon loisaychel treifa. Aposuk was not treifa loisaychelu. But the Gemara is just saying there's an isser to eat treifa michlal the misukena shari. It must be that misukena shari because what's treifa? Treifa is not stam that it's in a sick situation, but it's also missing something. A misokenes is it's time the animal is sick, it's about to die. Treifa is worse than that. Treifa is missing something. There's a hole in the veshet, there's a missing part of the kana, there's a hole in the b'nim ayim, it's nikfa kremamoyach. So treifa is worse than a misokenes, is what the Gemara thinks. So therefore, Zok the Gemara, if treifa is worse than a misokenes, and the Torah tells me treifa lo yisachel, mechlal the misukenes shari. It's mashma if it's just sick and about to die, but there's no chisaron in the actual, there's no deficiency in the animal, it would be mutter. The sokadaitach misukenes asira, hashta misukenes, the loy mechasra asira. A misukenes is not missing anything, it's just very weak and it's dying. If that's also treifa meboy, sure treifa would be also, so why do we need a pasuk the aser treifa? Frank Gemara, but dilma hani treifa hani misukenes. Maybe treifa is also nothing to do because it's deficient, because it has a hole. The only problem with treifa is that it's about to die, meaning it's hanuhach with misukenes. So minish kanaf kamina if it's about to die because it has a hole in the veshet, or if it's about to die because it's old and sick. It's the same soul. V'dilma hani treifa hani misukenes. V'laver alov v'asei v'loisese. And there'll be sayin asay and sayin loisese if you eat it. So once again, maybe a misukenes is just like a treifa and it's also. Zok the Gemara, imkei nevela the kosav rachmana lomali. The nevela is the next step. If it's a treifa or a misukenes, it's a tainuhach, and then when it pegers, it becomes a nevela. Why would I need the Torah to tell me nevela is also? Uma mechayim koyalei b'lav asay. Madach when the treifa is mechayim. There's an isur law for treifa, and there's an isur asay for misukenes. Lachamisa when it pegers, mi boy yavad is going to be also. Why would you think the Yisurim would fall off? Zok Gemara, but maybe the reason why the Torah says the lav for nevela is to add an extra lav for an extra malchus. The dilma hani nevela hani treifa hani misukenes. Maybe nevela is the next step in treifa / misukenes. It pagan, and maybe the reason why the Torah answers nevela is v'laver lo b'shnei lavan v'asei. If you only eat a misukenes, you're over nesei. If you eat a treifa, you're over nesei and a loshisei. And if you eat the animal that was gepeged, you're over 2 lavin and a nesei. So once again, we couldn't find a makar that in misukenes is mutter. So we're going to try from a new pasuk. Elamayach. It says v'chelav nevela v'chelav treifa ye'asa l'chol malacha. From this line of the pasuk, we learn that even though a nevela is tamei b'magu v'masa, the chelev of the nevela is a yasa l'chol malacha. It's not tamei. That part of the pasuk is not negated to our Gemara, but we're going to touch the pasuk. The chelev nevela, the chelev treifa, yasa l'chol malacha. It's not tamei. But the important point for our sugya is v'achol lo yisaychluhu. You're not allowed to eat the chelev of a nevela, and you're not allowed to eat the chelev of a treifa. There's a special law to eat the chelev of a nevela, and there's a special law to eat the chelev of a treifa. The Omar Mar, the Gemara challenged this pasuk. L'may hilchas ha'amar Torah. Why in the world would the Torah say that it's usher to eat the chelev of a nevela and the chelev of a treifa? Chelev is usher no matter what. So v'ostaf the Torah machen a special iser nevela for chelev and a special iser treifa for chelev. Chelev is usher with manavshech, even if it's from a kosher animal. Elamai, it's to tell you a chiddush that yavai iser nevela v'yachal al iser chelev. Yavai iser treifa v'yachal al iser chelev. Normally we have a rule ain't iser halal iser. But over here, by nevela treifa, we'll say that the iser nevela and the iser treifa will chal on the chelev, and this svara is poshut. It's iser koilel. Could be this is the makar of iser koilel. That if you have an iser that only applies to the chelev, and then you have an iser that will apply to the entire animal, it will also be chal on the chelev. That's the iser koilel. There are some Hungarian balabatim that have a different type in the iser koilel. the daytime the koil is iser, but the Gemara's shot is iser koil, and then iser is going to encompass more items than the original iser. It will be chal. So far we don't have a raya yet. So far all we know is that Torah specified iser nevela and iser treifa, that it's even chal on an iser chelav. Now we're going to bring the raya. Let's look on Omid Beis. Oops, that didn't work. We fix that. Either. Oh, let them see some of these.
Yeah.
Okay, gewaltig. So now's the raya. This is a little bit of a complicated raya, so we have to half up. The solke daitach treifa heine mesukenes. At this point, we're holding that treifa is a mesukenes, and the mesukenes would be also al treifa. Treifa is also al mesukenes. It's one isser, and remember, if it's one isser, the whole isser is that it's about to drop dead. It has nothing to do with the fact that the treifa is chaser. That we already said on the tzad that we want to say treifa heine mesukenes. It's nothing to do with chaser. It's the fact that it's about to drop dead. So if you hold that treifa heine mesukenes, and mesukenes is taka oser, lichdoi v'achmono chelav nevela. The Torah only had to tell us that the chelav of a nevela is going to be oser to eat. Yeyasa l'chol malacha. I'm sorry. Because we need to tell you that the chelav of a nevela is tahar. A treifa is tahar anyway. But the chiddush is the chelav of the nevela is tahar. But when it comes to the isra achila, the Torah shouldn't have mentioned anything to do with the nevela. It should have just said the chelav treifa loy soichluha. It should have only talked about the isser to eat the chelav treifa. Why? Because I would have known anyway that the chelav of a nevela is also osher to eat. But no mina umamachai madach when this pre-nevela is still alive. It's a treifa / misukenes. Osi iser treifa chayla iser chelav. Iser treifa will be chal iser chelav. La'achar misa when it's mamish and nevela mi boy, surely it would. So I don't need the Torah to specify that the iser nevela is chal on the iser chelav, because the step right before it became a nevela, when it was a treifa / misukenes, the Torah already told us that that's going to be chal on the chelav. Ella, the fact that the Torah said that nevela lo chelu, that chelav nevela lo chelu, is to teach us an important halacha. Ella mi the kozer v'achamana nevela michlal the treifa lav haini misukenes. It must be that nevela is not the next step after treifa. Nevela might be the next step after misukenes, but it's not the next step after treifa. And therefore the Torah had to say chelav treifa lo chelu. And nevela, which is not the next step after treifa, that's also lo chelu. Now, if the Torah is telling us that nevela is not the next step after treifa, that means we have to separate treifa from misukenes. And we'll have to say nevela is the next step after misukenes, meaning if it was tam sick and then it died, it became a nevela. But if it was a treifa, meaning it had a chesaron, that's not necessarily the next step is the nevela. So memela, you know why you need the Torah to tell you that chelav nevela is usher to eat? Because I wouldn't have known. Because before it was only a misukenes, and by a misukenes it would be mutter to eat. So from the fact that the Torah had to tell you that the chelav of a nevela is usher to eat, it's muchach that the pre-nevela stage, meaning the misukenes, it's mutter to eat. The kozer v'achman nevela mechlal the treifa lav haini misukenes. It must be treifa is not misukenes, and if treifa is not misukenes, then there's only an isser to eat treifa. There's not an isser to eat a misukenes. So far we have now a raya that a misukenes is mutter to eat from the fact that the Torah spoke out v'chelav nevela lo chelu. It must be that it's going from a misukenes to a nevela. Matzgef lo Mar Baravashi. Mar Baravashi did not like this kasha, because even if you hold that the nevela is the next step after the treifa, and misukenes and treifa is the same thing, I still have heicha timtze where I would need the pasuk to directly address chelav nevela is also awesome. You know what? Because I have a patent where it goes straight from being healthy to being a nevela, where it didn't pass through the stage of treifa and it didn't pass through the stage of misukenes. So for there, I need the pasuk to say, if it went from a healthy baby directly to nevela, boom, that's where you need the pasuk to tell you that the chelav is awesome. V'dilma la'olam eimalah hainu treifa hainu misukenes. Ayu de ka'amrit nevela de kazer rachman alamali. I'll tell you what you need it for. Lahach nevela de asya mikayach misukenes. A nevela that didn't die because it was a misukenes, rather it died in one fell swoop from being healthy. V'hechidami she'asa gistera. You had a perfectly healthy animal and you sliced it in half in one instance. So that went straight from a healthy kosher animal directly to nevela. There you need to tell you that Chahai Gavna, there's an Isser Nevela even on the Chid. Zok to Gemara, that's not a kash. You know what? Because Hasam Nami, Efsher, the Laihava, Misukenes, Porta, Mekameda, Livside, Laruba. It's impossible while you're chopping this animal in half that it didn't pass through the stage of Misukenes for a moment, for a brief moment. So it had to have went through the stage of Treifa / Misukenes before it was dead. And therefore, once again, the fact that the Torah tells us that in a Vela, the fact that the Torah tells us that in a Vela, the chelav in a Vela is usher to eat, it's a kloraraya, that up until then it was mutter to eat, and you have a raya that misukenes is mutter to eat. That's one pshat in the raya. Viva Yisema, another pshat in the raya is much easier. You don't have to think of this complicated cheshbon that we just went through. Viva Yisema, imkein lema chelav nevela utreifa. The pasuk lists chelav nevela and chelav treifa. The word chelav is used twice. That's a yitor. It could have said in one word, chelav nevela utreifa. Chelav normally to teach you a new halacha. Zuhi, davke the nevela, the chelav of the nevela, and the chelav of the treifa. He she'ein chelba cholak mi besara. There's no chilik in halacha between the chelav, which is asher to eat, and the basar, which is asher to eat. But v'yesh lach acheres, there's another type of animal shechelba cholak mi besara, that the halacha of its chelav, which is asher to eat, is going to be different than the basar, which is mutter to eat. What type of animal is the basar mutter to eat, but the chelav asher to eat? Ve'izaizu misukenes. So now we have a second makar that a misukenes is mutter to eat because we know it from the extra word chelav. We have a third pshat. We have a third pshat of how you know that a misukenes is mutter to eat as follows. It says this is a beautiful passage. What happened is Yecheskel Hanavi was told by the Rebbeinu Shalom to be mechaper on the terrible affairs of Klal Yisrael, the 390 years of Chet. He has to lie on his left side for 390 years, or 390 days, I think. It was 390 days. And then another 40 days on his right side, and he had to prepare himself food. He couldn't move. He was tied down. He had to prepare himself food, breads from different types of grains to show anios, and the breads have to be baked on coals that were made out of the excrement of humans. Also to show the terrible matzav of tumah that Klal Yisrael was in. So the Navi tells us that Yecheskel said, what do you want from me? And the Lashon of Pasuk is V'omer Aha Hashem Elokim Rebbeinu Shalom Hine Nafshi Loy Mitum My Nafshi is not Tomei Unevelu Treifa Lo Yachalti Minu Urai Vadatim, and I never ate a Nevelu Treifa. V'loy Ba B'Pi Basar Pigel. So if you know, this is godless of a Navi, but I think we could all probably say the same thing. We didn't become Tomei. Okay, maybe that we can't say. But we could say v'nevelu treifa lo yachalti, and I definitely can say I didn't eat pigel. So what's the godless of what the Navi is saying? The Navi is trying to say that he's a tzaddik yesod olam, v'osed the gross tzidkis. So the Gemara darshans the psukim. Zog to Gemara, nafshi loy metuma. That means shaloi herharti b'yoyim lo boy lidei tuma by night. I didn't have a bad hair by day, which would have led to tumas carried by night. So Tosfos asks, that's not a tamayl of nevuah. Every yid has that iser. Tosfos says, it says when the shmart and called over to tell you that you're not allowed to have a bad hair by day, which would lead to carry by night. Zokt Tosfos, true, that's an iser for everybody. But there's a Gemara that says that there's 3 aveiros that nobody's nitzel from every day. There's hir aveira, there's iyun tefillah, and there's lashon hara. So even though it's taka osher to everybody, nevertheless, Yecheskel was taka not nichshal, unlike most people. That's the first der Heubenkeit that Yecheskel Novi was sharing. The next der Heubenkeit, unevela utreifa lo yachalti min urai. What does it mean? I never ate an nevela utreifa. What's the godless of that? Shlo yachalti bosar kois me'olam. Kois means quickly shechted, because it's about to drop dead, and we don't want it to become an nevela, so quickly shechted. I never ate such a meat before, which is exactly the case of Mesukenes. So Chizki is saying, I'm a big tzaddik, a big bar maila, very makbid on other things that people wouldn't be makbid on, such as I wouldn't eat from a Mesukenes. The third thing he said was, V'loi baba fi basar pigel. What does that mean? Shaloi chalti mi behema shahayra b'chacham. I would never eat meat that had to come to the Rav for a shayla, even if the Rav was matir. But the fact that it had to be asked even as a shayla by the Rav, I wouldn't eat it. Mishum Rav Nasan Amru, what it means is, Shaloi chalti mi behema shaloi hermu matnoisel. Even though Yecheskel was a kohen, and the matanas came to him, and they don't make a tevel, he would be makbid not to eat from any behema where the zeroya, lechayim, and keva wasn't separated. Getting back to the kois, to the mesukenes. Iyavut b'shlema shari. If you're going to say that a mesukenes is mutter to eat, hanu rabu saydi Yecheskel. That's the godless of Yecheskel Novi. Even though it's mutter to eat, he didn't eat it. Asira. If you hold a mesukenes is also to everybody, there's an isra say, my rabu saydi Yecheskel. What's the godless of Yecheskel? So from here you have a raya. So now we have 3 rayas that a mesukenes is mutter. One, because it says the chel of nevela lo shechelu, vice the chois, that there's a nevela after a mesukenes, and the mesukenes is mutter. The second raya was it says the chel of nevela, so it's an extra chel to say dafka the treifa and dafka the nevela is the basar like the chel that it's all osher to eat, but the mesukenes, the basar is not like the chel, because the chel you can't eat, but the basar you could eat. The third raya was from the fact that Yecheskel Navi said that he's der Haiben, he didn't eat basar from a Misukenes, vice the chois, for everybody else, it would be mutter. Now this child of Misukenes is actually Negei Lamaisa, because in the first decade of the 20th century, around in 1905 maybe, the tzaddikim and the tzaddikim Umas Oilam of England decided that shchita is not humane, and you have to stun the animal with electricity before you shecht it. And the Gedolim held that would be a mesukenes, and it would be a mesukenes where it would be impossible to check for the simona, because even if the animal shook after the shchita, that could be still the residual reflex from the shock, but it's not a pirchus. And because of that, from like the early 1910s till after World War II, people in Great Britain were Moshe Nefesh, and they did not eat meat because they couldn't get kosher meat that was shafted in Great Britain. During the Second World War, we know the greatest humanitarians that ever roamed the face of the earth were the Nazis. And the Nazis decided that shchita shouldn't be allowed because they're very concerned about Tsar Balachayim. They were holy people, the Nazis. They cared about humanity, and they were worried that Chas v'Sholom the behemoth should have tsar, and they also said that you have to stun it. And there it was a shasat chak, was during World War II, people were starving, but the Satmar Rebbe, the Divrei Yoel, said it's nevela metodos neshasa. So nowadays we're mocked with we don't eat animals that were stunned because it's a mamash chash nevela. Okay, so let's see the Gemara weiter. I think there was even such a discussion in Canada already because we know how humane Canada is. They believe that if someone gets sick, you're supposed to kill them. The only medical procedure that you can get same day anywhere in Canada is a procedure that they try to make it sound kosher. They call it MAID. MAID is Rosh Tevis, medical assistance in dying. And doctors strongly recommend anybody who has a little sniffle, oh, why don't you just kill yourself? We'll kill you for you. We'll do the ritzicha for you. Even the UN condemned Canada that they literally murder thousands of people, and it's highly recommended by doctors, and it's the only medical service you can get same day, which is in and of itself a pachad nashrek that you don't give a guy to reconsider a decision like that. Anyways, Dr. Gemara weiter. It's all these humane people, they're worried about paying for animals, they're the ones who are the most into killing people. Someone who's merachim and he's not supposed to be merachim ends up being an achser where he's not supposed to be an achser. Zog the Gemara, we've been talking all about this misukenes. How do you determine that something is a misukenes? Zog the Gemara.
If you don't mean.
If you try to stand it up on its feet and it plops down, it can't stand on its own feet. That's an animal that's a misukenes, and in order to be able to eat it after the shechita, you have to have one of the simanim that we discussed. Rav Chanina bar Shlamya mishmei de Rav Omar, even if the animal has a good bite, even if the animal is able to chew on wood chips, that means it's pretty strong, its jaw is pretty strong. If it can't stand up, it's a misukenes. Rami bar Yechazkel Omar, afilu echeres koros, even if it's beans, even if it chew on a beam and grind it down like a beaver, it's still considered a misukenes. The Surah Masneachi, that's how they quoted the Machlokes in Surah. But in Pumbedisa, they had different Manda Omer. In Pumbedisa Masneachi, Heichidami misukenes, Omer Abidu Marav, Kol Shomid Moisevedo Medes, Afilu Eches Bikoyos, Rabbi Yechezkel Omer, Afilu Echeles Koyos. So in the version of Surah, it was Rab Chanina bar Shlamya who said Bikoyos, and in the version of Pumbedisa, it was Rami bar Yechezkel who said Koyos. Zok to Gemara weiter. Zok to Gemara weiter. Ashkechinu Shmuel l'talmidei de Rav. Shmuel met the talmidim of Rav. Amalu, he asked him, "My Amar Rav misukenes. What did Rav hold? How can I be sure if I shech the misukenes that it was alive at the end of the shechita?" Amrulay, they told him, "Hachi Amar Rav." This is what Rav said, and Rav gave simanim that are not listed in the Mishnah. It's a third set of simanim. And let's turn on to Daf Lamed Ches Amid Aleph. Just turn the Daf over. Goya, either it groaned, or v'etilarei, or if it left a souvenir, or v'chishkesha ba'ozno, or if the animal moved its shear, shook its ear. All these are examples, hareza pirchos, that through them we could say the animal is kosher. Amalu, so Shmuel said, it's shrichele la'aba la'zuze oini. The animal moving its ears, that's a very strong symbol of pirchos. Do you need to have something so strong? I think a much schwachere raya would be good enough. Shani Omer, because I say, kol she'eni dvarim shamisa oisa, any movement of the animal that's not a normal movement for what an animal does when it's dying would be considered a purpose. It didn't have to be something so intense like moving its ear. Zog to Gemara, my nina dvarim shamisa oisa. What are standard movements that an animal makes when it dies that would not be considered pirchos? like what our Mishnah says, "Hoysa yada kvufa upashtasa." If you had an animal that legs were folded in and it stretched it out by the shechita, that's not pirchas. That's not the natural movement of an animal that's dying. What is davar shamisa oisa? So that's a davar shamisa oisa. But pshuta v'kavava. But if the legs were sticking out and the animal pulled them in, that's the varim she'ena misa oisa, and that would be a siman of pirchas. Frekma my kamash malon. Why do I need a Ravanan to tell me something that we had before in our Mishnah? We learned in our Mishnah, Tanina be'emadaka, shaposhti yodel, v'lo yichsir psula, she'ena Elohi tos nefesh. And I could be medayik from their hachsir kshera. Zok Gemara, you need Ravanan. Because im masnisin hava mina, you know what's kshera? Davka de chayfa upashtava de chayfa. Davka, if first the animal folded its arms in, then it stretched them out, and then it folded them in again, that would be considered a pirchas. But if it was sticking out and he only pulled it in one way, that might not be considered pirchas, and that would still be aser. Loy, that even that's considered pirchas, and that we only know from Rabbanon. Baruch Hashem, we were zoiche to finish Daf Lamed Zayin, and we even were zoiche to start Daf Lamed Ches. We should be gebenched with a good mazel to simcha de kavach.
Amen. Mein Schreier.
Go ahead.